welcome back to another episode of What Are We Doing Today? Today we're doing a wheel bearing on this side, on the front, and one on the rear here. So the reason I'm changing this one is the ring on the wheel bearing for the ABS sensor has come off, and it has the ABS light. And the reason I'm changing this one is it's making one heck of a noise, and it's wearing out the outside pretty bad. You should see the inside though, it's even worse. I'll show you guys when I get the wheel off. So let's get this wheel off. Well, let's jack it up first, get the wheel off, and I'll show you what I'm dealing with. Okay. All right. So, to do this wheel bearing, gotta pull the caliper off, the bracket, the rotor, the axle nut, and then in the back, there's 4 bolts. I don't know if I can get this to see, but anyways, let me get this stuff out of the way. Okay, next we're going to take the center bolt off. This one should be fun. Let's see what happens. Love having the right tools for the right job. I was trying to do it by hand and it just wasn't moving, so good old electric Mastercraft Impact does the job. Okay, so we'll just leave that like that for now. Next, let's pull the caliper and the carrier and the rotor off. All right, we got the caliper off. Just these 2 bolts, one on either side. These are the weird ones. They're Allen key bolt. That's super not good. Okay, let's get this caliper carrier off. So that bolt and this bolt gotta come off. Okay, carrier's off right there. Now we just gotta undo this guy and the rotor should come off. Oops. Rotor's off, and yes, this wheel bearing is definitely not good. So you can see the bolts that hold it on, they come from the back side. So I'll pull those off, smash this guy off, slap the new one on, and call her a day. Let's go. Those guys are going to be a little tricky to get to, so we'll see how this goes. The bottom ones anyways. I've pulled this bolt out as far as it'll go, pretty much out, and then I'm pushing on the shaft to get it out so I can move it around a little so I can get the space I need. Hopefully it's enough. We'll find out. Okay, there's one. 3 more to go. Let's get it. Well, needless to say, this guy's being an absolute nightmare. Banged my hand up real good, but I got all the bolts off. This one was stripped. Where is it? Anyway, somewhere around, but somebody here, yeah, somebody previously tried to do this wheel bearing and they stripped out this guy, so I tried to drill it out, but I couldn't drill it out. I almost did, but I ended up just having to cut it. So now I just got to pull this off, and then we can put the new one back on. Well, that was a fun experience. So this back bearing was hooped. I think it was leaking. There's lots of metal in there. The front one wasn't horrible. Still not good though, but as you can see, this thing took a bashing to get it out. But I got her out. Now I got the new one in. I just ran the bolts up. Now I gotta get my torque wrench and torque these up. Alright, I've torqued the back ones up to 52 foot-pounds, and now I gotta go 90 degrees. So I'll do that, and then I'll put it all back together, and we'll start on the rear. Alright, that's all torqued up. Torqued them to 52, and then I marked them on the back, and I went 90 degrees, or so. That's done. Now let's get the shaft back in. We'll get the ball joint bolted back up, and then we'll torque this guy to 152, I think. I'll double check, but anyways. Actually, I think it's 124, and then 180 degrees. So let's do this. All right, ball joint's back on. Axle shaft is in place. Brand new nut, or bolt I should say. Looks like it's got some Loctite on it already, but we'll torque this guy up, and then we'll get the caliper back on and the wheel, and this side will be done. 148 foot-pounds, and then 180 degrees. So let's torque this guy up. Actually, before we torque this guy up, we got to put the caliper on so I can get my wife to hold the pads, keep that from spinning. So let's get this caliper back on. All right, all back together. Now we'll put the wheel on, and this one's done. So here's what I mean by the tire was wearing out really bad on the inside, starting to a little bit on the outside, but regardless, she's getting new tires as well, and a wheel alignment. And by the looks of it, I'm gonna have to do the front brakes eventually here in the next 6 months or so. But yeah, let's throw the wheel back on. All right, the wheel's back on. I just went for a quick little test drive. The noise is gone. Perfect. So now let's start taking this rear wheel off now and do this wheel bearing on the back. Let's go. Okay, wheels off. Same thing with this. Caliper's coming off, rotor's coming off, and then I gotta pull this cap off. And that's where the nut is that holds the wheel bearing on, but I got this screw off already. So let's take this caliper off. The rotor, this one should be a little bit easier. It's only one bolt holding it on, so let's see. All right, caliper is off, carrier is off with the pads. Now for the rotor. Okay, so the rotor's off. Now, this bearing isn't bad, but you can see this ring, this is the ABS ring that's supposed to be glued to the back of it, has come off, thus initiating the ABS light and traction control light and steering stabilization light. So we're gonna swap this guy out, pop this cap off, undo the bolt, put a new one on. Let's go. And there's the nut, or the cover. I kind of messed it up a little bit, but I got a new one, so okay. So we'll undo that, and this whole hub should just slide right off. Slide a new one on and put it back on and torque it all back up, and good to go. Let's go. Okay, that's out. There's the bearing. Bam. So yeah, the ring is still on there. Oh, it's actually broken. Okay, so we'll clean this up and we'll put the new one on, and she's done. Okay, here's the new one. Let's throw it on there. I might need 2 hands for this. Yeah, I need 2 hands. Okay, new one's on. Let's get the new bolt on there. I didn't even know I had this tool when I went and spent money on another one that I didn't need. Alright, let's torque this guy up. Let me check the specs. So this one's 133 foot-pounds and then 180 degrees. So that 180 degrees is tough to get, but let's go. Alright, the new wheel bearing on the back is on. All of it's back together. This one was super easy, about half an hour. Get the wheel back on and we'll call this done. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.